meeting to order. And everybody's got a copy of the minutes. We'll let you.
Yeah, so I made you aware that, Who's it all right? Sorry.
All right.
I will fix that and I'll send it back out. She has to do the county commissioner again.
I don't think Ron wants that again.
Hey, and these minutes aren't right. You want to start correcting. Because a 3-year term, I have a 1-year term.
Yeah,
The one who's from- Okay,
yeah. Hang on, it was a 3-year term, wasn't it?
okay.
Yeah.
We can fix that.
There's quite a bit of difference here.
Okay.
They just got names backwards.
I think I did Danny a favor getting him a 1-year term.
Okay.
You weren't here, so you didn't have a chance
Yeah, that's okay.
to election year for the 3-year term.
Yeah, you're lucky you get that.
You all agree with me on that?
Yeah, oh, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I probably just wrote the first name and then, okay.
Any other corrections? You got Zon's name there in the 4th paragraph.
Joe, do you remember what year term you had?
2 years.
Yours is 2 years.
was a 2-year.
That's what I'm saying, it wasn't
Yeah.
1-year terms.
No, I think
Myself and Dan,
you and Dan were
Dan were
1-year terms.
terms, 1 year.
Okay, now who's 1 year?
Danny and
Dan Rock and Ron Spencer.
And Ron,
and
okay.
I think I was a 2-year term.
I'm
I had Joe and Ron,
sure you were.
and then 3 years I had Ron and her.
Okay.
3 years was her and Ron.
Right, all the trucks.
Zon has 2-year term.
Mm-hmm.
Any other changes? So with those changes concerning the terms and then Ron isn't a county commissioner any longer.
Isn't that one of those lifetime titles though, like president?
No, you try to throw that off as quick as possible.
So with the corrections, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as corrections taken care of.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda is review the bylaws.
Yes, so I made some corrections based off the review of the last meeting, which there are just some minor things. On the second page, for regular meetings on the bottom, I just put, and this is directly out of the code, the plan of section 4.1. The planning commission shall meet at least quarterly and may meet more frequently at the request of the president or by 2 or more members. Because before we had in there, like every Wednesday, second Wednesday of the month, and we figured, we might not meet that often. So this just kind of covers generally what we're going to meet. Now I couldn't remember on section 4.5, attendance at regular meetings, we talked about this. Because we want to make sure that everybody attends meetings and have a process to have removal from the planning commission, but I couldn't remember, I know we had a discussion about it, but I don't know if anything was ever finalized about what we wanted to have, the time frame, or how many meetings we wanted
If we meet
quarterly, that would be.
quarterly, then that's only 4 meetings a
Yeah.
year, so we can't miss 6 meetings in 6 months.
Exactly, yeah. So we could just change that, or if you want it to be less, if you just want it to be 2 meetings or 3 meetings. It's up to you guys.
So the most we could miss in a 6-month period is 2, correct? Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to say 6 months. We could just
Yeah.
say in a year or, you
Yeah,
know,
I
whatever.
don't pick a. So we had 4 a year and you missed
2,
2.
4,
What's your?
more than, why can't you just say something like more than that?
Because we might need more than 4 times with a comp plan.
During the planning period, yeah.
Yeah. So if you miss more than half of the meetings in 1 year.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Sounds good to me.
With or without notice?
Oh, yeah. it's-
I mean, because I know I won't be here for the next meeting. I will be on vacation July the 8th.
Well, we might have to change that then.
Yeah.
We could talk about that.
Oh, give someone notice, everybody hears.
Well, that's what it made us.
I think we should just say without notice, because I mean, sometimes
Yeah,
things come up.
It's fine with me.
I think vacation is a valid excuse
Right.
not to be here. Okay. All right, well, I will change that. So that's easy. That was really the only thing. Now, the public input procedures, did everybody sign those and did you adopt that at our last meeting?
I think that we voted to approve it, but we
Yeah.
did not sign.
We did not sign.
Okay. Because I need a signed copy of this for my records and put in the comp plan. So,
Yeah, we.
Somebody
voted,
have them?
My recollection was we approved.
yeah, I
them.
thought we approved
Yeah,
them.
we did not
Yeah.
sign. them. Was there anything else on these bylaws?
It's pretty much the same thing
Okay.
as last time. That was just the only,
So did I understand the county commission has to approve the bylaws?
yes. So I'll make those changes and
Okay.
then I'll forward them to you and what the commission has to do.
We meet next Tuesday, so.
Next Tuesday?
Yeah.
But what would it have to be on your agenda?
Yeah, have you on the agenda. The agenda has to be
Tomorrow, today.
Today?
today.
So we couldn't do
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, you
when-
could, they can add to their agenda, and they
we do
did.
that then.
We have to have them 24 hours before the, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I'll send,
Or, you know, we meet first of the month too, so, you know, any way you want to do it, you know.
Okay.
First Tuesday, so
Yeah,
that's
first
a
of
daytime meeting. If I,
like we
we
can just
wouldn't
do,
have to have somebody there, would we?
No.
I don't think so, no.
so you just want to do it the first Tuesday in June?
That's that probably,
Whichever.
yeah.
If I have to be there, it's more convenient for me to do the first Tuesday than the evening.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I do have a copy of the public input procedures from last time.
No.
Yeah, so you sign, okay. So everybody wants to sign, because I just need a copy of that for our records, for the planning process. So what I wanted to do next was a visioning exercise, which will help us determine what some of the issues are in the county and figure out which will help us form the vision statement. And then also goals and objectives, which are all required components of a comprehensive plan. So we call it a SWOT exercise, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this kind of goes hand in hand with your homework that I'm going to give you. So just keep that in mind when we're going through this. And this is kind of what we did at the first public meeting. We asked the public to identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's funny because the weakness station is always the one where people immediately go to. Of course, they want to list all the weaknesses. So, but we'll start with strengths. So what do you feel are some of the strengths of the county?
Really useful.
Okay.
With good facilities, I mean, we're all, even the football field and new ball field, so.
Okay. All right.
The county park,
And what's at the county park? I saw the sign for it on 50.
Little pool,
Oh, there's a pool, okay.
walk a trail around
Okay.
the park.
Well, the biggest meeting place in the whole county is
Okay.
there. So you can accommodate, what,
200.
200 easily.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And the park's recently gotten a donation of land and is in the process of doing an expansion with a campground and some attractions like potentially a zip line, for instance. Things like that.
Amphitheater.
Okay. And this would pertain to West Union too, like strands of West Union as well as the county. Now the campground, would that just be tent camping or would that be RVs as well? Oh.
And maybe a couple of cabins too, here and there, so.
Community attractions, is that what we're asking for? Because I look at the positives of the county, we have an overabundance of natural resources.
Okay.
Natural gas.
Yeah, that's what I would say, the gas industry.
Right now, we have an opportunity with the increased tax valuations and severance tax from the county perspective. The city's got a little of that, yeah.
I don't know what
So
our
there's-
employment numbers are right now.
What's that?
Our employment numbers, I don't know what they are right now.
It's,
Not too good, I don't think.
I think right around 6%, 5.9 or something, or. So,
It's kind of slided off a little bit, but up until a few months ago, if you're unemployed, you were unable to work or unable to pass a drug test or just too late.
Too lazy.
So the jobs were available.
yeah.
But I think it's gonna even out again here, just in a short while, don't you? I think some of this is gonna pick back up and,
I think 6 months, maybe 6, 8, you have to get some infrastructure in here to get the gas out. There's too much gas right now.
Other strengths? Other strengths in the county, in the town?
I think the rest of the trails could be a strength. If
So it's
we
an
ever get
opportunity.
the development that we're supposed to get.
I don't know how you write this or even how to say it, but whenever there's a crisis situation, this community is very good about helping.
Okay.
So, and I think about Jordan Hacker, they had well over 600 people show up to a spaghetti dinner. They could not even manage it. It was just so many. So whenever there's any kind of crisis situation like that, it's a very giving community.
I think that's probably a sense of community,
Yeah, okay.
which in some places you don't have.
And that can be anything, even like, you know, just recently, someone showed up at mother-in-law's door trying to give her an American flag. Well, everybody in the community just started calling to figure out it was a rainbow salesman, sweeper salesman. But people worry about each other and they
Yeah.
care for each other.
Okay.
So I listed as a strength and weakness both is that we're very rural. It has good aspects to it and negative ones as well.
We do have Route 50.
Well, like I said, I was gonna say the same thing. We have one good major 4-lane highway that bisects the county directly in the middle.
And it
I don't
makes
say
a
anything
huge,
about the rest, some of the
The rest
other
of-
roads.
yeah.
But,
yeah,
Mhm.
but that makes a huge difference because, you know, you can live here and work someplace else.
absolutely.
Which is very accessible.
But I think we also have a rich history,
Okay.
which we don't always celebrate.
So that's an opportunity as well. Okay. Okay. What about the town in West Union?
Jody, you want to speak up for that?
So, we're working on it.
Yeah.
There's not a whole, I mean, the employees, I have very good employees now, and they're concerned, but funding is just very tough to come by. I mean, they want to do a good job, but not always the funds are available to do it.
Okay.
Or two of your candidates for mayor think there's all this money,
Yeah.
all this is gonna get done in town, like, no, there's not.
Yeah, there's not.
If you wanna find out, you have at it.
One good thing about West Union, working with the streetscape, like our engineering firm, with the streetscape and other people that are coming through are saying, my gosh, you got a lot of really decent architecture and a lot of it's in really good shape. I mean, it's not hard to find a little town like this that just needs bulldozed. It's that dilapidated, but ours it needs work, but it's not, we're not nearly as bad structurally there, particularly on Main Street, the buildings as some communities are.
Okay. Is there any vacancies in the downtown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess there's only 3 that's really vacant. On Main Street. There's a couple on all streets that are vacant.
You still have 2 community banks, that's almost a rare anymore.
Yeah, and strong community banks. And independent, they're not owned by anyone except their shareholders, so. Yeah, people kind of go, what do you mean? And they will remain that way. I know that they've both been approached to be bought out. Am I speaking correctly, Ron?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably people is one of the strongest things because, like if someone comes in and complains to me in the city office, I honestly, if you don't tell me, I have no way of knowing. We
Yeah.
don't just drive around.
Yeah.
We can't just drive around. And, if I don't have a communication, I
Yeah.
don't know these things. So, and I try to act on them as quickly as possible.
What are most of the complaints concerning?
Well, like if they're having problems with a dog run loose, or they're having problems with somebody parking illegally, or they may see a little water stream someplace, we don't know whether it's groundwater or whether we got a
Yeah.
water leak. We always check those out, so those are just,
And, I really don't use them, but I think we're fortunate for a small town like this to have a couple of doctors.
yeah.
We got the Lincoln County, they're on Main Street, with Dr. Calhoun, that office.
And now at the schools too.
Most small towns this size do not even have a doctor.
Right.
We got a dentist in there for the first time in years.
Yep.
One, and,
I mean, I think that's a plus for a small town.
got a facility at the schools.
Once they get your prescription, you can go see Danny.
We've got 2 dozen ambulances.
Two dozen ambulances. I thought it was more like a dozen.
We'll see.
When I was growing up, all we had was Charlie's
My dad said, or he's dead, that he said, I lived 18 years longer than what I should, because I didn't think Charlie was ever going to get me to the hospital when I had a heart attack.
Well, let's move on to weaknesses.
Infrastructure. Number one.
We have a housing issue also.
So infrastructure, is that,
Water and sewer.
Water, sewer.
Yeah.
how about internet?
Yeah, and 3-phase.
Yeah.
And I hate those electric lines hanging in West Union, downtown West Union. I hate those. Hate them.
Everybody and their brother does.
Okay. Now what about housing?
No housing.
Just,
Poor housing, no housing. I mean, to come into West Union to buy a house, there's no housing to rent, there's no housing to buy,
We have
there's
aging
dilapidated housing that needs to be done with that.
housing. There's not a lot
And
of
then-
new.
I had 2 people show up here one day, God scared me to death. I was unloading stuff, it was a Saturday evening, and I literally then had to take them to the mission, because there was no place for them to be. They lived on the street the last 2 nights. So that kind of housing, I think about the guys at the end of the street down here, they're in the
And the
campers.
streets campers.
Yes.
Rumor is they gotta move out.
Pardon me?
Rumor is they have to move out in 30 days to get out.
I want to ask you one.
Where do they go?
Back when we started originating the solid waste authority, we went through the prosecuting attorney. We cleaned that up, solid waste.
Right, that's what I heard.
Went through the prosecuting attorney, and we were supposed to get that land for the expense.
Mhm.
What happened?
All I know, Ron, is that they said, told me yesterday, in work yesterday, that Larry Williams owned that.
Larry Williams.
Yeah.
It was in Larry Williams. He was
Junior
Speedy
Martin, it's part of Junior
Speedy
Martin.
Martin.
Yes, it's part of Speedy Martin stuff.
Well, see, when that was, I don't know if you all, some of you guys remember when this trash pile was
I
sky.
remember, yeah, I
You
remember.
should remember, yeah, this trash pile was sky high, and we paid a lot of money to get that cleaned up. And Lou Salmons was supposed to get that deeded over to the solid waste
As
authority.
far as I know, the way he told me yesterday in work, that Larry Williams owned that, for part of Speedy Martin stuff.
I think that's a disgrace coming into town.
It's awful.
Well,
What
also,
is it?
It's a shame for the people who live there too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they have no place to be.
So what is it again?
We just have to show you.
Okay.
It's hard to describe.
It is.
and then up where Dallas lives up there, they sold out to the church.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. So they're gonna move over in 23 somewhere.
Well, but I feel badly for them, because they have no place to be.
Yeah.
I mean, when I took that kid up there to the mission, she was in one of my high school classes, she was 18 years old, and I had to take her, and it scared me. They walked down this deep, dark set of steps, and I thought, I just felt terrible about leaving her there, but Scott was not gonna take those two then. So, where do you take them? The state police would not take them, the sheriff could not take them somewhere. That was the only place I knew to take them. And I feel badly that we don't have a place for people to be,
Yeah.
but to live on the street. And like that couple there, they have no place to be.
No. I mean, I feel sorry for them, but as a business, if I want to come into town, wish you put business in, I don't want to see that stuff.
No, you don't.
I mean, my big thing, it needs cleaned up. And I understand they need to go somewhere to make the housing for, but it ain't gonna happen in Dodger County, I don't think so.
There's more than one couple there now.
Oh, yeah.
There's a bunch of kids there.
I said, I heard they have babies in there too. What I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard they have babies in there too. I don't know.
It's terrible. Terrible. But I wish there was something that could be, I don't know, even if it was a parsonage or something that, for a small amount of time, that people had a place to be.
Has the Department of Health and Human Resources ever been down there?
I heard they have been, they wouldn't have nothing about it.
Well, that's
And
good.
that's what I heard. And I just hear say, well, I don't just hear why I'm making it work. Not for the county, but it's gonna work, you know.
That's a shame all the way around.
Yes.
It is.
Other weaknesses?
Or better roads.
That roads.
Yeah.
Yeah, roads
But everywhere you go, the roads are bad. I mean, not just in Dodgers County.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, you know,
We need ditches.
yeah, I mean, they need cleaned out, yes, I'll agree with that.
Is there any public transportation?
are.
No.
Well, we had there for a while, Centra had a grant out of Harrisburg and was running a bus or two a day.
Well, if you're a senior citizen, you have transportation.
Yeah, senior citizens has, but that's,
Okay.
Industry.
Yeah.
Limited.
For high-tech jobs, we just
Yeah.
don't have to bring our kids back.
That's why I told her, it'd be nice, some of this oil field stuff, we could have like a little factory somewhere, the kids can make enough money to earn to stay here in Dodgers County, instead of leaving the county. But I don't know.
Well, in the last year or two, I know high school kids have come out and make $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. You know, but I can't expect that
No.
to keep that the rest of their
No.
life, you know. But, like I said, industrial work, or, you know, long-term.
long-term, like a factory somewhere that would make a halfway decent living to stay here.
Medical benefits.
Yeah, medical benefits, yes.
Okay. Any other weaknesses?
Well, we was talking about housing. I think one of the biggest problems about housing, there's a lot of people would build in this county if we can find decent building sites.
Yeah,
It's hard to find housing sites that people will sell in this
Yeah.
county.
Mhm.
My gosh, 30-some years ago, I had a heck of a time finding a place. I
Well,
don't know how many places I went to buy, nobody wanted to sell their land.
And with that comes the infrastructure, you need the water and the sewage and all of those things that make it easy to build a house, Because our land does not perk well for septic systems.
no,
Well, we got a lot of floodplain.
Yeah.
So flooding.
Yeah.
And like you said, infrastructure. It's a lot better, it's getting better.
It's getting better,
all the
it's getting
time.
better.
It's
gonna take
things, but you have to have money to do
it
it.
takes money, and that takes time and money.
Yeah, like we need public water and sewage to the county park badly.
Okay.
It is one of our best assets, but on the flip side of that, we do not have public water or sewage there. So
I'm gonna ask you about last year's camp.
spending a week there with 100-some kids and no water for 24 hours is not fun. I've
Okay.
done that 3 times.
Yeah, swimming pool, didn't you?
I-
They don't take the water, the soap down the pool and suck it
All
up.
males 10 and under believe that is the bath. If it's 15 and up, they want 2 showers a day.
You didn't mention there's also a creek.
Yeah.
Well, it's always flooding the week we're in camp, so.
Is that where you camp at the
Yeah.
county park? Any other recreation weaknesses besides needing the public water and sewer in the county park?
Well, we don't have a golf course.
You like that one too, when you did?
But if kids want to do something otherwise, we have to go to Clarksburg or something.
Yeah.
Because there's no.
It's funny though, because in Harrison County, I heard the same, we went into the high schools last month, and I heard the same thing, we have to go clear to Clarksburg, and they're even closer to Clarksburg, so it seems like, I hear that everywhere about with the kids.
Social entertainment.
I think also too, I fast food restaurant. I drive through, I mean, there ain't no, I wouldn't mind seeing McDonald's or Hardee's or Wendy's.
Okay.
There's a Subway around here, but you can't get into it. And you can't.
Because it's busy,
Oh,
or?
yeah, busy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But look at this, we're probably healthier.
Well, yeah,
We
probably
don't
not.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, our kids are probably healthier. because we
Yeah.
don't have.
Yeah.
So there's a.
What about, where do people
Plus
grocery
minus.
shop?
Shop and save, what's the shop and rob?
So that's the only grocery store?
That's
Yeah.
our only.
Yeah.
Where is the closest, like Walmart?
Clarksburg.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm glad.
Yeah, yeah, Walmart always brings up mixed feelings in people, so. I was curious if there was one the other way on 50.
Just Parker's.
Parker's. Yeah.
Mhm.
Any other weaknesses? How about emergency services, police, fire?
We got like-
I just mentioned we had 20 ambulances.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that, I see that
We
that's,
have more ambulances in this county per population, I guarantee you, than any county in this United States of America.
and what is the, what do they call, what's the,
We got two different.
There's 2 different ones, that's
Okay.
probably.
Somebody's gonna have to tell the story.
yeah, because I need
No.
to.
It's too long. We'll have to fill you.
Douglas County Ambulance Authority
Okay,
and the Douglas County EMS.
One's a public and one's a private.
It's a feud.
okay. Which one's public, which one's private?
Private EMS.
Okay. So how does that work then, when somebody calls 911?
Not well.
Look, our Douglas County what is it, the pump, the
Ambulance authority.
ambulance authority is the one.
It's
that's
number one,
primary.
number one.
Yeah, number
Okay.
one.
Mhm.
So when you call 911, that's who's dispatched to
So how does the private one even exist then?
transport.
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 And
Okay.
they're busy. That's money. That's a money-making business.
Okay.
And they're backup if they're called.
Mhm.
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 Where is the nearest hospital?
Oxford,
Okay.
which you do.
Bridgeport.
Bridgeport now, yeah.
Yeah.
Bridgeport now.
And we have, I have to say, we have pretty good volunteer fire departments.
You got,
I have no
Five.
complaint.
Five,
Yeah,
five fire departments.
Five foot, okay.
5 volunteer fire departments.
Uh-huh.
What about police?
We have state police barracks with 4 officers, 1 town policeman, and sheriff and then deputies.
Yeah.
And how many?
You have so many?
4 or 5 deputies or more.
I don't know.
Oh.
Seven.
There's one,
One is in the school. Yeah, there's 2 there.
oh, there's two in school.
One in school.
Went to high school, went to middle school, elementary.
Yes,
Yeah.
I don't,
But at least 5 or 6. Yeah.
That's
Six.
Yeah.
I can think of 5 deputies.
What are their,
no, 6 total.
because I know it's different in West Virginia than it is in PA. Like in PA, they can only serve warrants and transport to jail. Can they do different things in West Virginia, deputies?
Deputies can do
I mean, can they,
background
if there's a crime in your house, can they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they have more
check.
power.
Like in Ohio, where highway patrol, it just,
Yeah,
West
yeah.
Virginia State Police investigate murders and burglaries and highway and everything.
Yeah.
And where's the state police barracks at?
Greenwood.
Oh, there is a prison in county too.
It's actually before you get to Greenwood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just down right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The regional area, same area.
Okay. Is there a lot of crime, did you say, or is it pretty,
Drugs.
you hear that everywhere?
Mhm.
Okay.
Actually, as far as violent crimes go, I didn't see that
There's
it's.
not violence, there's a lot of thieves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
Well,
that's.
because of
what-
drugs.
I think that's part of it, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
The majority of that's because of drugs.
And I don't think it's actually breaking in house, armed robbery.
No.
They know where they can steal something where somebody's not around.
Mm.
You go back 2 or 3 days later and it's gone. Wonder what happened to it.
What about, is there an emergency shelter anywhere?
No, and
No.
that would have helped some of this other situation maybe.
Okay.
Excuse me, are you talking emergency shelter if we have a disaster?
Yeah.
Okay, there is a disaster plan.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one?
Yes, there is one.
Where's that
Uh, Commission has it, but you have disaster shelters all over the county with,
at?
I'm sure there's a disaster plan. I'm heard that.
Yeah,
Pat
there is.
Still, the,
Yeah. They got like 5 or 6 generators set up, the
Okay.
park,
Yeah.
park's got
Yeah,
one,
that kind of.
Main side's got one, Greenwood Fire Department got one, I think West Union Fire Department got one.
Okay.
Smith
Yeah.
School,
School, yeah, school. yeah.
Smith
Smith
School,
School, we got one out
Oxford, whatever that Grange.
there. Yeah, Grange, yeah, okay.
Oxford, Grange.
Grange, yeah.
Okay. How about opportunities? I have the severance tax, increased tax valuation, rails to trails, the history of the county needs to be celebrated, other opportunities.
I think agriculture is
Okay. What primarily, what type of agriculture is primarily in the county? Is it cattle or crops or a mixture?
Number one.
And so I would disagree with you on that. I think it is definitely small-time, local produce type things. But as far as large-scale farms, we do not have
No, we
large-scale
don't have,
farms.
yeah.
I think we have very few, there's only, the last census, and how old is it? There were only 10 farmers that sustained themselves. It was
Oh,
not
yeah.
part-time. They were full-time farmers. And I would say that's half now.
Yeah, my dad was is a farmer and he had 2 other jobs. I mean, there's
Right.
just no way you can.
Right. So I would say it's more oil and gas and timber than any other type of agriculture.
I'd say there's farmers doing better today than
Yeah.
they have from royalty. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what they're selling. They're selling, you know,
Yeah.
land, the
There's
lease.
My
a
dad
lot of
has
full-time
gas
farmers now, probably.
Yeah, it's mostly kind of
Because they
hobby
can.
farmers putting things on.
Yeah, I do think it's hobby farming, but I think what Herc's referring to is the comeback of the local food movement. You know, where there is a lot, there are individuals that are targeting farmer markets,
You
seasonal
do
type
have a
crops, those
farmer's
kind of
Yeah.
market.
It just got started really good for the first year last year, and they did well for its first year.
Cattle prices are way up, all livestock prices are way up.
Okay.
But I think there's opportunities though for aggregation and distribution to the Parkersburg area and Clarksburg area or the Morgantown area. If people want to take advantage of that, it takes some connectivity to hook those markets up. But I think the opportunity is there. And yeah, they're not gonna make 50,000 an acre like they do from Antero, but they're gonna make enough, you know, if they get together on it.
If we had 10 farmers in this county, they could live and survive, raise a family on a farm, I'd like to shake their hand.
Yeah, well, 2
Yeah.
houses, yeah.
Because I'm telling you, I mean, I know back years ago, we had dairy farms. My grandfather raised his whole family on dairy farms, but we don't have any dairy farms anymore.
We don't have the land for it, you know, our land.
Yeah, that's true.
Grass production, you know, grass.
If you cut living up farming in Dutchess County,
Kind of
you're-
thing. Impressive, right?
that's very impressive, very impressive.
So I think it has to be, you know, it's not your typical type of farming. I mean, it's not beef cattle or crop farming. It is certainly a niche market.
It's hobby farming, 99.9%.
Right, right. It's because you like the livestock.
And fresh meat.
Yeah, you want your freezer beef.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other opportunities? Then I'll talk a little.
I think it could be opportunity with timber and value-added products, but there again, you've got to have people with some sort of entrepreneurial foresight to participate in it. Because it's just not, somebody's not just gonna come in here and set up and if you wanna sell your timber, and if it's, you know, this and that. I mean, we're not gonna see businesses open on that basis.
Yeah.
They're gonna want to see some sort of
Second, I'm in the meeting.
reasonably guaranteed
Yeah.
flow of product.
Now, is the gas industry still going pretty strong? Because I know they're slowing down in a lot of areas, the natural gas drilling. Is that
The what now?
natural gas drilling?
It's
Is
all
that
between 40 and 60% this year as compared to last year.
Yeah.
I think it's like.
It's-
said,
yeah,
it's
you know.
Pipeline to get it out.
Well, the price is down.
Mhm. Yes. They drill and then if they can't push the gas.
Yeah. So is that what they're working on now? Pipelines?
They're working on
Oh,
slips.
really?
We're working on interstate pipelines to get it clear out here. But oil and gas always been cyclical. I mean, even
Yeah.
at a smaller scale, and there's no reason to believe that it's not going to continue to be cyclical.
I think Ron can speak to that, but Bob Warrenville kind of explained it very well the last time he was here, is that, you know, the gas prices were just out of control. And
Oh,
all
yeah.
these companies were in it, all this action was going on, and Doddridge County was right in the center of all that, you know, when all of that, when it just landed on us. And now it's starting to level back out. Some of the major companies are still here, they're still working, but some of these smaller individuals are just having to step back and wait for the prices to come back up, if they can, if they
Yeah.
do come back up to where they can be involved. But midstream is here.
I was gonna say, what are the
Midstream
major companies? Antero, is that one?
Antero, Southwest,
Oh, you got,
Dominion.
Dominion, EQT, you've got all of that gas companies in there. And, they're actually, in this Marcellus boom with the horizontal drilling, there isn't what you call small people, little people in it. It's all big people.
Nature.
They're talking multi-millions for each
I
lake.
guess what I'm saying, all the little contract groups that were doing all the different little pieces and parts of different
Oh, I
things.
understand where you're coming
Yeah.
from, you're correct. Doing the work in the courthouse, subcontracting off of them, yeah, I agree with you.
So they're kind of leveling out right now. He said that it would just kind of level out, it was just a huge influx of people.
I don't think you'll ever see that in the courthouse again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it was the
Because
courthouse
it's all,
was
it's
insane.
all,
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And did a lot of, because we've heard from some courthouses that records have been destroyed because,
well,
There
there's
was
probably
no-
some damage
Some of them
done.
too, I think some of them walked out too.
yeah.
Yeah, but ours is all, I guess ours is computerized, you can get it on the computer now, 99% of it.
Yeah, and they're working on more, trying to get more organized
Right.
right there. It's gonna take time.
But the truth of the matter is, the rush is over. I mean, the leases have been big time.
Mm-hmm.
You can only research this stuff so much,
You only
yeah.
have so much land, you only have so much roll in leases, so. I don't think that, I think those jobs are gone. I don't think, some of them, there's
There's still people coming in now that
And
want
there
to
are still
work.
has people, EQT, all the big companies still have people coming in and out, but you're not gonna see the big rush,
No.
I can tell you that, it's not gonna happen.
It used to be standing
Right.
room only, you go for a certain time, you can go in, you know, they slacked off a little bit now.
The 5-year leases are starting to expire,
Um,
okay? With that, you're going to have, abstracting's my bailiwick. With that, you're going to have people who have to come back in and recertify titles. It's not going to be nearly as crazy, but that is because we are now online. Because it'll be the up-to-date stuff that they're going to try to get, not the way back 100 years ago.
Well, don't you think most of those companies have done that already? Everything I've been involved with, they went back to the 1800s.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the up-to-date stuff is online,
Yeah.
and I don't have to come into the courthouse.
Yeah.
I've just got to certify
Don't
from
you
that
agree,
5 years, the
don't you
last
think
time.
most of that is over with? I mean,
No,
Antero, why not?
because once the 5-year leases expire, then you're going to
Oh.
have another influx coming in.
I don't think they're gonna be, I think they bought those leases up, but I don't think a lot of them will be in production. I think
They're gonna
they've got
expire.
the wells already that they've chosen to put in production. They're doing those units now, those
Yeah.
horizontal units. And I don't foresee them out there buying up or renewing leases. I think they're gonna
That's
go
it.
ahead and put things into production that they already currently own.
Well, I don't know. I'm already going to give you extensions.
Yeah,
Really.
Yeah, so.
I've got people calling me, wanting to buy my land.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think the big corporations are gonna have it under control. Antero, I don't think there'll be people in there stealing theirs. What they've got under lease right now. Not unless they just don't want it.
Mhm.
Do any of these gas companies have a presence, like a physical location in Douglas County, or are they all operating just all over the place? I mean, do they have an office anywhere,
Antero's office is at Charles Point.
Yeah.
They've got a building at Charles Point.
Well, Antero's got some
Satellite.
Satellite.
Yeah, satellite offices, but
They don't have a big,
Yeah.
3-story.
Steptoe has a little office uptown.
Couple
They're
of,
just attorneys.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go right ahead. Okay.
A couple of operations told me it's difficult even to get a field office out here because of lack of infrastructure. They stole the water.
yeah.
And they want access to places to
Yeah.
eat, to places to stay and housing and.
Well, yeah, I know you can't stay. I tried to stay in Clarksburg once, and the hotels are either booked or they're like $200 a night for like a Holiday Inn. So I know a lot are staying out there. Any other opportunities? Okay, how about threats? I have drugs.
What was that question?
Threats.
Threats. Strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats. What is a threat?
Well, it's something that could definitely impact your community like drugs, obviously. Like in some of the communities I work in, dilapidated buildings are a huge, because I mean, it's, their whole community is nothing but
We have
dilapidated
that
buildings.
problem too. I mean, I like,
Not as bad as
No,
some.
like I said,
I
we're
think-
not bad as some,
Yeah.
we
I
have,
think it's an issue. but
we've got some
not-
buildings I like to see burned down in
Mhm.
town,
Yeah.
on the water department.
We
Wish
have-
the one next to me could just go. Under the drugstore.
Be nice parking out there.
Fall in the street.
Didn't cost a fortune to tear it down, I wouldn't.
Does the county have
I
any
agree with
regulations or anything regarding dilapidated buildings?
We are working on that.
Do you, is your county attorney working on that, or?
No, we just found some papers the other day that I think you was involved in. We just found this, we hadn't had a chance to go back through them and make sure what's going on. We found the papers, Beth did the other night.
Best of luck to you, and I hope you have
Oh, I know.
some success, but we tried that several
Yeah,
years ago,
Because I mean, that's something we can,
couldn't get
Help
the
you with.
attorney to really do a whole
Yeah.
lot of work on
because
it.
the clinic is working on stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of buildings in the town of West Union needs torn down, and in the whole county.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But you got a lot of people, my thing is, to them, that home is theirs.
Yeah,
And it's hard to say, man, you need to fix this up or we'll have to make it tear it down. That's where they lived all their life.
yeah.
And then you can't really, I see where they're coming from.
But there are buildings that are leaning into
Yeah.
other buildings.
Yeah.
Things like
Well,
that.
it's
People
not
hate
the
yours.
other-
They're uninhabitable.
Yeah, or there are buildings that are just vacant and there's, you can't trace the property owner, there could be 5 or 6 heirs to it.
They do it in Salem, I know part of Salem burned and
Yeah.
took care of part of it, but
You have to adopt the state building code and hire a codified building inspector.
That's one way, yeah.
That's, from what our city attorney's telling us, that's the only way that we can do it.
Well, what, the town has different powers than the county. And I can bring some information on this if you'd be interested, because the clinic's really working on
Love it.
it. Okay. So I will put that on my list.
Because I've done research and I keep getting dead stops.
They're actually, Jesse and the rest of the clinics in Charleston tomorrow, they're doing a whole seminar on what you can do in terms of dilapidated. I think they have 100
I see some of
attorneys.
their Harrison County is,
They're doing a loan program.
okay, I've seen something about that.
Yeah,
I've
they're
seen
doing
Ron
a
Watson
loan.
talking about their loan TV.
Because a lot of their, and just like you said, some of the people, they just don't have money.
Yeah.
They want to stay there, but they just don't have any
Right.
means.
Yeah.
So they're doing a low interest loan
Okay.
program.
I
So I can give you some information about that. Okay.
I don't know if it's more of maybe more of a weakness than a threat, but there's a lot of negativity, and that's
Yeah, there is.
one thing that I really believe is truly the only thing that can hold a community back, for sure. I mean, it's not, lack of money hurts you, lack of people hurts you, but that will kill you.
I think you got a lot of older people in this county that don't want to change. The change is here.
Well, things change whether you want it or not, so.
It's just being prepared.
Well, our problem, we just can't bring our kids back.
Well, and that goes back to having local leadership. When you
Well-
can't get a generation to return, fortunately, this is a pretty young body, but I work with
Thank
a
you so
lot of organizations that the average age is probably 76. And those are the ones that are turning out to serve. And that, to me, is extremely scary.
As we get older, old is not the same as it was when we were younger.
No, it isn't. No. But that worries me.
But, I mean, we all have kids, and like I said, but my daughters, I don't look for them ever back in West Virginia. I wish they would, I'd love for them to be back here.
But there's a little bit of a fallacy too. I mean, Bevan's outside of Denver, and she made a comment to me one day on the phone. She could never live here because she couldn't make enough money, right? And, so what are you paying for rent on the place? And it's about twice what my mortgage is on a new house.
Oh, I agree with you.
And roughly the same amount of space, and it's, I don't like it.
I don't know if it's so much what they can make,
Yeah.
it's the culture, the lack of culture.
It is a quality of life.
And it's what they're used to, you know, it's tough to get them back, because there's really, you know, there's nothing here, what are they gonna do?
You know, I was in Petersburg this past weekend and we're driving through town and I'm like, Scott, look at Petersburg. And I look at West Union. I miss home because there is just a different culture and that's just the other side of the state.
Yeah, Petersburg, Warfield is.
Right, there's just this lack of, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, this is now my home. I've lived now in West Doddridge County longer than I lived in Grant County.
That's right, you're foreign.
Exactly.
You're local now. I forgot about that.
But, you know, I moved here when I was 23 and now 46. I've lived here longer than I did and have lived in Grant County. But there's just this difference of, I don't know, pride maybe? What you have or something. I don't know how to describe it, but it, yeah, I just wish, I don't know how to describe it.
We'll put it this way, I'm a lifelong resident of Doddridge County, and I could afford to move somewhere else, but I'm not going to. I'll be here the rest of my life.
But I
The
told
worry
you,
though, is this the best thing for your children?
Yeah,
Think
I
about
agree.
it.
Yeah.
You know, I know you think about that for your girls. Would it be the best thing for your granddaughter to come back and live here, you know, or it'd be more Ben and Indy to live here, make their life here. I want my kids near me, but
And I'm not saying my family won't be back one of these days, I'm not saying, I just kind of doubt it. You know,
I just worry that there's nothing here for them to want to return to.
there was a guy in the store the other day said he sold his land for $267,000. Now they can't find a place in Dodge County to live. Yeah, you can't find a place, you know, when you gonna find a place really to buy a piece of land people don't want a fortune for it?
that's what I made that statement 20-some years ago.
Yeah.
It was hard to find land in Doddridge County that you actually wanted to build a home on.
Is there any, there's really and nobody's ever put in like a residential subdivision, or it's just pockets of?
Just maybe Walter's Run a long time ago.
We had that little one out on England's Run, where Chris lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a few houses out there.
Oh, I think there's opportunity there. You actually got that opportunity. I think there's opportunities on multi-housing and stuff, and so many buildings in this county.
But you gotta have
It's
this
not
market,
just not like a
electric.
building. It is.
Yeah, I think people would want to live here for the simple fact it's like living in Mayberry. There is a safety thing, there is great schools, 3 super good schools. I mean, your kids are only graduating with 100 students every year.
Yeah.
That's nice, you know?
Yeah.
But
If decent housing was available in this county, we'd have more
we would,
population.
we
We
would.
have decent housing.
And your schools are, I mean, because I've been working in communities where schools is like the #1 issue. So the schools are,
They're brand new.
All new. All 3 of them brand new.
Yeah.
Schools. The oldest one's in middle school, then it's middle school.
I think academically.
And the middle school is probably the
Yeah.
best of all of them, you know, that's true.
I mean, for instance, I was just in Harrison County, and it's interesting, the 4 high schools, the difference. Like the one high school only offers 1 AP class in the high school.
We have some issues there. We
Yeah.
have some academic issues because, for example, when you're in 8th grade science, you have 1 science teacher. So you don't have a lot of choices.
Yeah.
And if you actually have a poor teacher for that entire year, there's some issues there. But the flip side of that is some of our students leave,
Full decade.
if you've got a good plan, you're great. But if you've got one that doesn't get out
What
of
are
the
you
chair,
bragging about one
well,
science
I'm
teacher?
worried. I've got kids in school right now, and I'm seeing some of it, and I'm a little bit worried.
I
We've
can
got
tell you,
long
a couple
schedule.
courses in high school, we had 3 decades.
Heavens, thank you. But we've got students that will graduate from Doddridge County High School with 15 credit hours,
Oh,
ready to go to
that's
college,
good.
paid for by our Board of Education. That doesn't happen very
Yeah.
many places. So, you know, there's those many pluses and minuses. But then I'll tell you some other things. You know, when you've got 4.0 students that can't score a 23 to get a promise scholarship, we've got problems there too. I think sometimes we're making it way too easy. They don't have to take semester tests. We're not training them, we're preparing them for college. That's
We don't have the worst system, we got a lot of improvements, you know, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I think every county in the state of West Virginia has improvements to make.
Yeah.
Would you
Well,
get a
it
teacher
starts at
degree
home
today?
too. If you get
That is,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Would you
the
get a
thing.
teaching degree today?
Could I get a?
Would you get a
Would
teaching
I
degree?
get a teaching degree? I'm envious of them because they have a captive audience, but I could not do it because I would paddle somebody. I could not do it. I could not do it.
They won't let them teach.
Yeah, I mean, that.
Melissa would have taught for
Right.
10 more years.
To wipe their nose, tie their shoes, and, you know, yeah, I really agree there. And as I said to Ron, a lot of it needs to start at home.
Good. That is.
Do you guys, okay. Here, let me do this real quick.
Kristen.
Not believe.
Emphasize the education.
Nate's gonna leave.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this real quick.
Okay, and we may want to quickly talk about the next.
Next meeting, okay. So these next two things I distributed are real quick and easy. One is a stakeholder list. So I want to start calling or emailing stakeholders in the community, and this describes what stakeholders are. So perhaps you guys could think about this as your homework and then send any names and contact information that you have to Herc, and then he can get it to me. And I have a spreadsheet for this I can send to you, and if you can put that all in there. And I kind of listed who key stakeholders would be in the community. Email is, if you have emails for these people, that's the best way for me to get a hold of people, but if not, a phone number would suffice. So any organizations, EMS, economic development, natural resources, historical societies, just any community organizations or anybody that has insight on needs within the community. And then the other handout is your homework. So what we did today was like strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what I want you to do is to go out into the county and take pictures of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And this is a great way for me to visually see what some of the key issues are, because just sitting here talking about it, you might not think of everything, but then when you go out, then you can start to really get a better idea. And so this just kind of gives you an idea of what I'm looking for. And if you could send those pictures to me to my email address, and then I'll bring all the pictures to our next meeting and we can talk about them. So does that make sense? All right, so the next meeting, I hear July 8th. That's what I had down, is a conflict for at least 2 people.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, so we can change that.
I'll be back next week, the 15th. I'll be
Gone that week, so it'll be August 2 weeks.
Ooh.
Sometime the 12th or 13th for about 10 days too.
Okay, so do we want to do August?
You get to figure sometime, it'll have to be early.
Or with late June?
I got a little.
I saw them, what's the fair, the week
The
of the
fair is
19th?
August 18th, yeah, that's correct, 18th.
So we could either do late June or late July.
What about July 1st?
What day that one
That's
goes?
on Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah, I know I couldn't because
Okay.
it's first of the month. And
Yeah.
Chris,
Yeah,
Chris is on
Bill Hart.
vacation, so
Yeah, Bill Hart meets first.
certainly. Now, the end of the month, it might be all right.
Yeah.
The last week
We're
of
doing
July.
the 1st of August.
July 29th or August 5th?
All right, let's see.
July 29th is not good for me.
I don't know what I'm doing next week.
I told Ben, I'm waking up in the morning, buddy.
August 5th?
Yeah.
Try that.
August 5th.
I hate to bug everybody.
Okay,
I'm right behind you.
August 5th might
I'm
be
in the
good.
office by myself, so.
so August 5th,
Yeah.
okay.
Remember, having said all those things about the county, our infrastructure's, but you look around the county, we've got pretty much everything we need. And
Yeah.
of course, 25 years ago, got out of pharmacy school, I had an opportunity, but that's why I came back, because we're rural, we're small. If I went to live in Clarksburg, I'd go to Clarksburg or wherever. This is where I would be.
That's what I said.
So our little
No
county,
complaint.
yeah, our little county can be a lot worse. Because our school and this extension program in this county helps this county on too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What you've done.
to go on this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get 12 heads, you're going this way.
Thank you, Dan.
But, you know, for a 7,000 person county, you know, we
Yeah.
could do a lot worse.
It could be worse.
There's no reason to be negative, is there?
Every has some negatives. Look at Harrison County. Eh? they can have it. I'll see
Alright,
everybody next
so-
Tell you
time.
what, all it takes to get out of Dundee, the highways,
That's
I remember I didn't ever have to wait a minute or second to get on the highway. It's getting busier, but I'm gonna tell you, it's nothing compared to places you get outside of here.
Get on the Parkway West.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I couldn't handle it. Take me a while to learn how to handle it.
It takes you 30 minutes to get out of Morgantown.
Yeah, trust me.
We tell you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Now,
Yeah.
I want to do a tour of the
the
county so I can get a feel, and I like to do that while I'm already here. So before or after our meeting, before it would be better.
So do you wanna,
Yeah.
I didn't follow you. When are you wanting to do that? And
So August 5th would be, since I'm already going to be here, it just makes
Okay.
sense to combine trips. So maybe before our August 5th meeting, whoever wants to go and take me around the county, just show me the county. I mean, it probably wouldn't take too long, right?
This is a big, this is a
Oh, it
big county.
depends.
Actually, yes.
If you go turn around the
Yeah.
Yeah, you start camping, going door to door.
Yeah, it
you know,
seems-
it's a big county.
Okay.
And if you want to go up the hollers, it
Yes.
takes a while.
It's
I don't think I need to do that, but.
Oh,
yeah.
When you start going, here's Washington
Oh,
Hall.
my God, I want some in policy.
And you
How many times
start,
up here?
you get off work, it's 4:35 o'clock, you drive over, it takes you a half hour to
Yeah.
get there. Then you go to the first house,
And
and once
walk
you
off.
come in, and then you, and it's getting dark, you know? And you don't like to knock on doors after it's dark.
I wouldn't do that. When it starts getting dark, I can't even walk.
Well, you
I
have to.
I was kind of, nowadays you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever.
Well, maybe think of an itinerary, because that's usually when I've done this, people have kind of thought of an idea where, like, the things they want me to see in the county to help me write the plan. So think about that, and then we can figure it out.
So you should probably see like a really
The covered bridge.
populated area and a really sparsely populated area and a,
Because, like, for instance, we're doing Wyoming County's comp plan, and that's a big county. And she just took me to, well, they have more than one incorporated municipality, but she took me to all there's 3 or 4, and then just some of the highlights in the county, things that are an issue, concern.
Well, you could take her to Central Station.
Maxwell's
You don't see
Ridge.
the difference between Wyoming County and up here in this area. When you say it's 30 miles away up here, you're figuring 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
yeah, it's
30 minutes away
Half a
from Wyoming
day.
County is an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I've spent
There's
a lot of
no
time.
cell phone reception. Yeah.
That's something else we're talking about, doing, putting maybe towers in the
Okay.
county too.
Pretty much.
Hey, how
Towers.
is I have 2 bars. I have 4G though.
Yeah. Talking about maybe putting the tower maybe over on the 5.2 or somewhere. And just rumored, we put money away to do that, maybe they want 2 towers in Dodges County, one over in Oxford, over in somewhere in there, maybe one that way there, so we put some money away to maybe see what we could do.
Oh,
Which
man,
town?
I wish you had one out around St. Clair.
Yeah. I mean, you got some places, there ain't no cell phone, cell phone service.
there's none.
In the Oxford area, in the Cove area up there, I mean, you've got to get to the top of the highest hill to get that.
Yeah.
I build wells out there and you're just lost.
Mhm.
But you know, almost the town of Harrisville doesn't have much reception.
Yeah.
Really, it's unbelievable.
We had great broadband out in 23. We've had actually, I really think our broadband is better than West Union's. But as far as, and I feel badly because of all the oil and gas industry,
Mhm.
so much stuff, so much data is now emailed.
It is. The
Yeah.
whole thing is done, computer, email, you don't think, well, thumbs still work, but everything's done on your
It's
computer.
dangerous.
It is.
Well, and what really bugs me is when I have trouble with my landline, they assume I have cell service, and I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, that would be great, Lonnie.
well, that, this,
Yeah.
it's in this stage, I mean, I'm not sure how,
That would be interesting. That's 2 areas.
Well, plus then we talking about maybe renting the space off to somebody else who wanted to put something on there, to take money back to the county. And there's something else too, I don't know, a library still, I'm not sure about the library yet. You might go, might not go, we give you all.
I heard you all talking.
So can we change the date on the photo deadline?
Yes. Yeah.
Blow that out a little bit.
I don't know, maybe- They won't put annex in, I don't know.
I had Friday, June 19th, so you could just make it a month later,
Okay.
July.
Greg's pushing annex.
I saw that in the picture.
Mhm.
Annex one.
Okay, are we done, Rusty, with
Yep,
your,
that's it.
any public comment? Pam here.
I need to get
No.
one too.
So we'll say
I
Friday,
would,
July.
I'd like to ask something about these buildings. You all are aware to tear the old buildings down, they have to be hauled away now, you just can't simply burn them and go. And to tear them down, you're talking anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000.
Yeah, there definitely is an expense.
Oh, I know there's a lot of money there.
If
That's
there would
part of the
be a
problem.
way to get either a group together that could be paid to do this.
I think there's different opportunities. I know a community I worked in was trying to get the National Guard to tear down buildings as like a training exercise. And then there are other communities that have done things to get money for them as well. Like some communities have a vacant property registration where you have to pay every year that your property is vacant and then increases the cost.
Well, you pay, your taxes are the same here.
And then they use that money to help, fund demolition. So there, I can put some stuff together
Well, I think
there.
the cities would probably do that, but I don't know if they're gonna do the rest of the county.
Yeah.
I don't know any of that works.
Solid Waste Authority have any opportunities for something like that to help with that?
They should be able to help with it. I can't say how much they're gonna be able to
Yeah,
do.
no.
But they,
Adjourn for minutes and then we can chat if we want to, if you don't care.
Okay, I move, we adjourn. Or you can just.
Second.
Yeah, you can.
I'll second. I'm gonna get going.
Adjourn at 2:08.
I'll see you tomorrow night.
Okay.
Right, thank you. I'm sorry, Ron, I just wanted,
What kind of building are we trying to tear down?
Dilapidated.
This is dilapidated. You saw that house I had on there. I had a price of $5,000.
That's a big house.
That was a big house.
Where was that though?
One of the
Where was that?
communities I'm working in, they
I'd
actually
love to find
have
somebody
a
for
guy,
5,000.
that contractor that is.
I'd have him tear that place down out there.
He's not charging them a lot of money because he's
Well-
using a lot of the, and just.
I might still have their
That
number.
stuff is so costly and he can just reuse it in other projects. Yeah, salvaging it.
Well, we thought that we could run a dozer through it and burn it.
Somebody,
Yeah, it's a huge.
are you
I had to-
rating these?
These two guys, they have a company.
Yes, so I will.
They came and gave me a price of $5,000.